Now, this is normally the type of thing that I would start to kind of put on my Midwestly channel as I try to cover mostly gaming news here on the Quartering. However, I think that this topic is important enough to warrant its placement on the main channel, and I hope that you'll watch and enjoy and be encouraged to think a little bit about what's going on with YouTube and Google and with new interesting information that seems to be seeping out of Google at a rapid rate. Hey guys, a fan, one of you all reached out to sponsor today's video, and that is swordguystore.com for real, functional, high quality, sharp blades from your favorite movies, anime, and video games. He sent me this awesome sword too, which is sick. SwordGuyStore.com has a special offer going on right now for fans of the channel. You can go to SwordGuyStore.com, enter the promo TQ free gift at checkout and get a free gift like one of these. All sorts of different stuff he included. Hey, the website could use some work, but the swords are awesome. He's got a Master Sword. He's got Nero's Red Queen sword from Devil May Cry. He's got a World of Warcraft sword. He's got all sorts of video game swords. Witcher sword. He's got anime swords, movie swords. So, hey, my first time I got to promote a fan of the channel, so check out swordguystore.com. Link in the description below. Now, there are many YouTubers out there who will talk about how their videos are suppressed, or they can't, they don't show up in the search results. We recently saw some information going around over election meltdown compilation videos that were unable to be found by certain people. A wide variety of anecdotal evidence. Now, we've seen some information come out in terms of real hard information with recent leaks in terms of the way that Google and ultimately YouTube uses the search algorithm. We know that when I talked about, for example, the great Captain Marvel boon of late 2008, early 2008, if I remember right, there was a clear moment where YouTube videos would show up talking about Captain Marvel, like actual YouTubers like you and I, people that watch YouTubers like myself and don't just consume big multi-million-dollar YouTube channels. There was a clear cutoff there where YouTube said, nope, regular YouTubers, you're not going to get any traffic on this anymore. It's going to be all Entertainment Tonight and the Daily Show and all this stuff. It was very obvious when that happened. Now there's new information out, a long list of blacklisted sites and content creators that has been put out there. Now, the machine learning fairness, if you remember when we originally covered that, that dude has come out now and gone public, and it has been kind of a crazy series of events. He talked about how there were people that were looking for him, and Google had sent him a letter, and hundreds of internal documents ended up being leaked, including a new blacklist human raiders, in the YouTube CEO video, all sorts of just crazy stuff. Shortly after, including the algorithmic unfairness document, which is what we looked at on this channel, where essentially Google said, hey, if you do a Google image search, we want to, even if, for example, CEOs, if 80% of CEOs are men, we want the image results to be 50-50. Is this necessarily harmful? No, but it's a slippery slope. It's Google redefining what truth is. And they obviously then started looking at where these leaks were coming out. Shortly after the report of algorithmic unfairness documents were published, this person received a letter with several, quote, demands. He told Veritas that he complied with their demands. I assume that Google is going to say, hey, you can't be leaking this stuff out, obviously, that kind of stuff. After being identified by an anonymous account, where he's believed to belong to a Google employee on social media as, quote, the leaker, he was approached by the law and at his residence in California. And they received a call from Google, which prompted a, quote, wellness check. He described the incident. They got inside the gate. They started banging on my door and they were going to, come in. I imagine very, very scary type situation. But Now there's a new document that's out. Of course, there's all sorts of, information that you can look at. And look, these are leaks. These are out of context, so to speak. But there's internal docs that look crazy. One internal doc called Coffee Beans appeared to show Google employees discussing hiring practices and related threaded communications. These things are pretty crazy, and now there is a new blacklist. This was from late July. If you were critical of the Fed, that seems like such a weird thing to be critical of. YouTube is the second most popular search engine in the world. It comes right behind Google, which is interesting enough, owns YouTube. The writer has searched YouTube videos showing things like how to change the battery for a key fob in a 2007 Jetta. There's all sorts of weird stories. Now, I think some of this is probably, it looks weird, but it's probably a logical reason for it. But there's also many things where we see obvious issues, right? Where employees were speaking out, where we saw actual internal emails. And then you see this, according to a new document obtained, there's a huge list of people who are on a blacklist. Now, interestingly enough, okay, what this looks like is a mixture of both websites that you wouldn't want to be indexed, for example, like play.google.com or drive.google.com or docs.google.com but weirdly enough, use a manual list of sites excluded from appearing on Google Now stories to read results. So essentially these are where Google would display the news. And I think that they're probably also going to do this type of thing on YouTube, which is really interesting. You see, some normal sites, and you see torrent sites, which I suppose would make sense. You see Louder with Crowder on here, which is a conservative news site. You see some news sites on here that are kind of bizarre. You see One Angry Gamer listed here, which is funny. I wonder if he'll write about that. Here's the full list. There's some interesting sites on here. Obviously, like the Pirate Bay and stuff like that. There's sites that you might expect, like the Stormer site, obviously. You would see also, weirdly, TCG Player. There's like a Yu-Gi-Oh website listed on here. There's a long list. I'll leave a link to these, but it's really interesting. Drudge Report is excluded allegedly from showing up in any kind of news. Where's the Yu-Gi-Oh site? I know I saw it. Wait. Oh, these aren't alphabetical. So I thought I saw. Yeah, here, Yu-Gi Dex. That's such a weird thing. Yu-Gi-Oh blog.konami.com, Yu-Gi-Oh.tcgplayer.com. What? That seems like such a weird thing. Why wouldn't Yu-Gi-Oh news be allowed? You see sites like Kiwi Farms listed here. So, essentially, I think this is probably an extension of what you see with Google curating the news. And this is also an extension of what you see with YouTube, where YouTube is, on here. You see some interesting things, like you have Media Matters and Queerty on this list too. This is the news blacklist for Google Now. It lists many sites on both sides, but have been excluded from appearing as news stories. So, you see interesting relationships here. I'm actually not shocked that my site is on there. This is Mindy Robinson. I assume she works with, she's a patriot. She's an actress. But I'm recognizing tons of my friends and fellow peers. Oh, my site isn't on there. I see the new game just can't win. It's interesting. Now, there's always more than meets the eye with these type of things, and there very well might be reasons, or this list of sites might be, multi-purposed. There might be a real reason. Maybe these sites at one time had some malware on the site, or they've been, they promoted news that was not good. I mean, tips for survivalists. Why is CBS News on here? Oh, wait, look at this. Hold on. There's actually information in here. Start sites with high user block rate. Specified here. Okay. These are sites that they want to. But here's what's interesting. End sites with high user block rate. Then start sites with a high user block rate. And then you have 4chan on here. Milo Yiannopoulos. And then you have, where was that note here? Sites flagged for peddling hoax stories. ABC News, CBS, Drudge Report, Now News. This is weird. Action News. It's funny that ABC News is on here. I can't imagine that ABC News wouldn't appear. But you have all sorts of interesting websites on here. Is this really a blacklist? It would appear so, but you never know. Look, Veritas has had some things wrong in their day and some things right. But ultimately, I think, the idea that Google and YouTube want to kind of curate content, whether it's for video game reviews or video game news, or you're covering tech news or you're covering movie news, we know this happens. They've openly admitted that. I mean, you can go back and look at all the articles. In fact, if I pull one up right now, I bet you if I go Captain Marvel YouTube search results, here it is. This is back in March 8th. If you remember, YouTube fought Brie Larson critics by changing its search algorithm. How a simple, quote, news tag can change everything. If you search Brie Larson on YouTube a couple days ago, the top results were calls to boycott Captain Marvel and rants about Larson's involvement in the Marvel Cinematic Universe with one small change. YouTube made them all disappear. This week, YouTube categorized her as a newsworthy search term that does one very important job. It makes the search algorithm surface videos from, quote, authoritative sources on the subject instead of videos from individual creators. YouTube responds with video sources from Entertainment Tonight, ABC, CBS, CNN, and other news outlets first. Now, the implication here is that an individual content creator couldn't possibly be as trustworthy as mainstream media, which we, of course, know is not true. And the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Brie Larson, the Avengers films, what makes ABC covering a particular news topic automatically more authoritative than maybe a super fan who might be covering that particular topic? We've seen them do this time and time again with pop culture items. It's no surprise to me that they'd also be doing it with news items, and we know that they're going to be ramping this sort of thing up in the near future, and it's going to be interesting to watch. This is why people are moving over to DuckDuckGo, and people are using different technology to do their search terms or their searches. This is why people are enjoying video viewing sites like BitChute instead of YouTube. It's because of all this stuff we just can't trust. And this would be a reminder that follow me on those sites, minds.com, BitChute. And, if you're getting news on video games or you're getting news on Marvel movies, you really aren't any different than people who are searching for, trending news topics, whether it's entertainment or otherwise. You want to get the best content, and Google has already, and YouTube has already shown historically a propensity to make sure they don't necessarily deliver the best content. It's the best content in their opinion. I hope that you were entertained or at least enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to leave a like on it and drop a comment in the comment section down below. We'll talk to you again real soon.